Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Carter, I hope we can agree that the HIDA grants are valuable to fighting the drug crisis in America. Do we? Could you turn your mic on, please?
Absolutely, Senator Durbin. HIDA is a very important part of fighting.
So last year, the 33 HIDAs, which are high-intensity drug trafficking areas, the 33 areas identified by that program seized 4.1 million pounds of fentanyl and other drugs and denied drug traffickers $17.7 billion in illicit profits. Proof positive of what we both agree on. HIDA grants work, right?
Absolutely.
So let me ask you to please explain why the HIDA program is subject to a 34% cut by the Trump budget from $300 million to $200 million. Have we won this war on narcotics and don't need this anymore?
First, let me begin by stating that I absolutely support the president's budget. Secondly, I do and absolutely support our high-intensity drug trafficking HIDA 8 groups. I was actually just recently in Alaska. I made a trip to the furthermost part of the United States in an effort to meet with a HIDA director there and an effort to see the fight that we are continuing to fight against the drug cartels. I figured we've seen the supply pouring across the southern border. We've seen it come across.
I'm going to have to slow you down a little bit. We have a limited amount of time if we follow the rules of the committee. And I would like you to answer my question. How would you justify a 34% cut in HIDA grants if we haven't won the war on drugs?
The big, beautiful bill also supplements that funding. We continue to assess. This administration continues to assess those grants, and HIDA is absolutely supported by the Office of National Drug Control Policy, which it falls under.
34% cut is not support.
Right behind me, I have HIDA Director Michael McDaniels and Deputy Director Rick Goss.
That's good. I'm glad they're here, but it doesn't help to cut the program by 34%. Let me go into the Mexican drug cartels because you said you have some personal knowledge of those. Are you aware that these drug cartels are heavily armed?
Absolutely.
Do you know their weapon of choice?
Yes, I mean, they use assault rifles, they use grenades, they use quite an array of weapons. Sometimes they out-resource even our own law enforcement.
And the Mexican police and military forces as well, correct?
That is correct.
And one of the most common weapons they use is a .50 caliber rifle.
That is correct.
I'm not an expert on firearms by any means, but I understand that that is a military-style weapon that is so powerful that it can penetrate a vehicle.
These are lethal weapons. Yes, that is correct.
You also know that the Mexican government has done an analysis of where these crime guns come from for the drug cartels and find that 70% come from the United States. Are you aware of that?
Yes, of course, Senator. We are assessing both sides of this horrific situation that our country is facing.
So if you're dealing with a drug crisis that you characterize as a chemical war being waged against the American people, and 70% of the weapons are coming from the United States, to these terrorist cartels, do you believe we have any obligation to try to stop that flow of weapons?
We are assessing both sides of this issue. Absolutely. We're working with our partners, both in Mexico and here in the United States, as well as law enforcement, to assess this and mitigate those threats.
What do you suggest we do?
We are continuing to work with both sides.
You got to get beyond assessment. You got to do something to stop the flow of deadly weapons to the cartels.
Senator, I believe shutting down the border has effectively stopped the flow, both going south and coming north.
Oh, we've stopped the flow of weapons from the United States into Mexico? Is that what you're testifying?
I believe by shutting down the border and working with our partners in Mexico, who are as responsible for the crisis that we are facing, we have significantly reduced the flow going south as well as coming north.
I want to see that in writing. Can you produce it?
I will absolutely work with you on this, Senator.
Well, I think it's very important that you do that.
Absolutely.
The drug crisis is serious. You want to take on drug crisis for America. You don't have a background in this other than an interest in the subject. And I would just say that to entrust you with that responsibility when we're cutting the budget of this agency by 34, or the HIDA grants by 34%, really gives a lot of us pause. I'm not sure why you were chosen. You're articulate, but that doesn't mean you're expert enough to manage this job. So let's see what you produce for me.
Absolutely, Senator. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.